In a peaceful village nestled in the hills, a young girl wakes to the sound of rustling leaves and the warmth of the morning sun. She walks through the lush paths, breathing in the fresh air as birds sing and villagers begin their day. Her cat naps in a sunny corner, while nearby, people gather fruit and the smell of wood fire cooking fills the air. Laughter and stories echo as neighbors prepare a simple feast and a loyal dog stands watch. The fertile land promises abundance, and as the day ends, she watches the vibrant sunset. Sitting by the fire with her family, she reflects on her last night in the village. Tomorrow, she will leave for the bustling city of Kuala Lumpur. But tonight, she cherishes the simple joy of home. She arrives at the airport feeling excited and a little nervous. The busy airport is a new experience for her, and as the plane takes off, she looks out the window, watching her village fade away and the city lights appear below. When the plane lands in Kuala Lumpur, the city feels alive and different from her quiet village. She takes the KLIA Express, watching the city pass by with its tall buildings and busy streets. Finally, she arrives at her faculty, where new friends greet her with smiles. Surrounded by laughter and warmth, she feels ready to embrace the new opportunities that await her in this vibrant city.
As Malaysia works toward United Nations Sustainable Development Growth (SDG), we can clearly see a very rapid growth in cities like Kuala Lumpur, especially in technology and infrastructure. However, some rural areas like Sabah and Sarawak still face big challenges such as poor roads, poverty, and limited access to good schools and healthcare. So this highlights a major gap in our country's progress. To truly create a sustainable and a fair future, we must understand these differences and find ways to close the gap so that we can ensure everyone in Malaysia move forward together. Based on this issue, today we will discuss a very critical topic, urban innovation, rural neglect. Is Malaysia SDG 9 focus fairly its countryside? Good morning and thank you so much for agreeing to have this interview with me today. The reason I conduct this interview is to discuss deeply with you about the issue. I understand that you are from Sarawak, right? And you come here to study in University Malaya. Can you start by telling me about your background and how long you have been here?
Hi, my name is Akmal and I'm a student from University Malaya. I was born and raised in Sarawak for my whole life and I've never set foot here in west of Malaysia before since I had no reasons to. And I've been here for about 4 months now. I think even though it's such a short period of time, I had the best time of my life and it made a big difference in my daily life. I also noticed many differences between back home and here, which lead me to agree on conducting this interview.
Thank you. So what were your initial thoughts when you first arrived in KL?
Honestly, it was a bit overwhelming at first due to the environment's differences between my hometown and here in terms of the culture, the languages and the pace of life.
So what do you think that contribute to this kind of differences?
I think one major factor that contribute to this kind of differences is that big differences in the infrastructure and the services. Believe it or not, many places in Sabah and Sarawak still lack the basic necessity of infrastructure such as clean water, reliable electricity and proper transportation. In most of the rural villages doesn't have like a proper road, so they don't have the access to they don't have many access to healthcare and education. Besides that, I think there was a case where 3 lives was taken from a boat sinking, case which could be prevented if a simple bridge was built.
Incident on Tuesday morning, a boat carrying 20 people sank in Sungai Kayan with 17 victims rescued, while 3 victims were reported missing.
In Malaysia, the federal government retains a significant amount of oil and gas revenue produced by the nation. However, only a small percentage of this actually goes back to the states that originally produced this oil.
Recently, Sarawak has demanded a greater share of the revenue derived from these resources. The state argues that the 5% royalty payment prescribed by an agreement entered with Petronas is not fair compensation given the scale and value of the resources within its boundaries.
This becomes a major issue due to the fact that they will lack sufficient funds in order to address their local issues, such as infrastructure gaps, poverty, as well as rural economic development. This will further exacerbate the socio-economic inequality within their people, since these governments will lack the sufficient funds in order to better the livelihood of their people. On the other hand, the federal government will most likely fund development projects within places such as Kuala Lumpur, Penang and Johor. Therefore, this will further widen the urban-rural development gap and leave these resource-producing states without enough funds to better the livelihood of them.
Besides that, I think the healthcare and education facilities in East Malaysia are severely lacking compared to West Malaysia. This is primarily due to inadequate infrastructure that restrict accessibility.
In rural villages like in Tanjung Kupang, residents must travel out more than 10 kilometers in order to find a pharmacy, a petrol station or other items that go beyond their simple daily necessities.
And immediate action is necessary to address these disparities and to ensure all its citizens have access to essential services.
Oh, sorry. I can clearly see the big differences there between your hometown and here, right? So now let's talk about the main challenges that rural community, especially in East Malaysia, face, and how do this impact their quality of life.
I think the rural communities in Sabah and Sarawak still face many limited access to clean water, electricity, healthcare and education. For example, I think in 2022, about 80% of households in Sabah had treated water compared to over 95% in urban peninsular Malaysia. I think clean water is essential because not just for drinking, it's for the hygiene and for our daily living there. Electricity is another issue. Many villages still rely on costly and unreliable diesel generators. Healthcare access is also quite challenging. Like emergency cases often require long and difficult journeys to reach hospitals, and rural clinics are often under-equipped. I think the digital divide also remains significant. This is because the rugged terrain makes it expensive to build infrastructure and internet coverage is still extremely limited. Most students in Sarawak or Sabah or any rural area share one device among family members, and some even risk their safety to find a signal.
There's a very big struggle there. So as the youngster, with a fresh mind, what are some solutions that can benefit the rural population?
I think the solutions to help the rural population is to bridge the digital divide. I think the government must prioritize investments in infrastructure development like broadband and 5G infrastructure. And I also think like programs like Jendela should be strengthened as it play a crucial role in improving connectivity in undeserved areas. I think, but infrastructure alone isn't enough. We need community telecenters to provide internet access and ICT resources to the populations. ICT literacy programs must also be conducted regularly to teach digital skills, empowering rural communities to market their product online and access better opportunities through social media such as Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. For instance, the purpose of e-commerce application for Pulau Tuba help local community commercialize their products and reduce poverty. Education is also a key here. Studies show rural students often lag behind in digital skills, limiting their academic progress and future prospects. I think by improving ICT infrastructure and digital literacy, we can level the playing field in education. This also might reduce brain drain as students no longer need to leave their hometown for better opportunities. Instead, they can contribute directly to their local economy and development. When we invest in digital infrastructure and education, we're not just closing the digital divide. However, we're building a future where every student, regardless of background, can reach their full potential.
It's a very good idea, Akmal. As we wrap up, is there any advice or expectation towards our topic today?
In Malaysia, the divide between rural and urban areas is shaped by differences in education, economy, and infrastructure. Urban areas thrive with advanced facilities while rural communities often struggle with limited access, particularly to technology. In many rural regions, digital connectivity is a challenge, restricting opportunities for growth and development. To bridge this gap, solutions like implementing MA63 are crucial. By ensuring fairer revenue distribution, we can improve essential infrastructure like better roads, electricity, and internet access. These changes will help rural communities adopt modern economic practices. Investing in community development will increase productivity, create jobs, and reduce the urban-rural divide. With these improvements, we can elevate the quality of life and open up more opportunities for everyone, no matter where they live.
Wonderful advice, Akmal. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. Best of luck in your studies.
Thank you, Professor. I appreciate to share my experience.